Slava Isusu Hristu, glory be to Jesus Christ, Hristos je među nama. Nalazim se opet sa đakonom Ukrajinske Pentakostalne Crkve u Vancouveru, mojim prijateljem i bratom u Hristu, Ruslanom, koji će da mi odgovori na dva pitanja. Znači, prvo pitanje je zašto je Bog stvorio ljudski rod čovjeka, koji je smisao čovjeka, why God created mankind. Welcome, dear brother Deacon Ruslan.
Thank you, Ivan.
And second is Svetog Apostola Pavla mission to Christianity and why all those who dislike Christianity dislike Apostle Paul. So first question will be why God created mankind. I will translate every word you said in Montenegrin, ja ću sve prevoditi na crnogorski jezik da bi svi naši pratioci mogli da razumiju. Why God created mankind?
Well, I think the very source that we can read about the creation of God, the creation of man, that God has created him, it was from Genesis chapter 2, chapter 1, verse 26.
Znači, pročitajte knjigu Postanja, prva glava, 26. stih.
And it says, "And God said, let us make man in our image, after our likeness. And let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over the cattle, and over all the earth, and over every creeping things that creepeth upon the earth."
Znači, to pročitajte. Većinom dijelove Svetog pisma ne prevodimo osumice, znači uzmite Sveto pismo i pročitajte knjigu Postanja, prva glava, 26. stih.
So basically it says about God, he created man in his own image.
On je Bog je stvorio čovjeka po njegovom liku.
And when he created man in his own image, what does it mean to be in God's image or to be created in God's image?
Kada je Bog stvorio čovjeka po njegovom liku, što to znači da je on stvorio čovjeka po njegovom liku?
When we are thinking about image, we are thinking about someone. For example, if you do sculpture, we create something. For example, if it's a man and he is alive or he is dead, we create him from the stone and we kind of wanted to portray man on a stone.
Kada se radi o skulpturama, o kiparstvu i hoće skulptor, odnosno kipar da napravi kip nečiji, on će vjerojatno koristiti lik onoga kome je ta skulptura posvećena i želi da to bude identično njegovom liku.
When we are talking about God creating man in his own image, I think we have to think about, first of all, about God's holiness.
Kada je Bog stvorio čovjeka po njegovom liku, moramo prvo da razmislimo o tome, o Božjoj svetosti.
Man was created without sin.
Čovjek je stvoren bez grijeha.
Because God has no sin.
Zato što Bog nema grijeha.
And the Bible says, let us create man in our own image.
Znači, Biblija kaže da je Bog rekao da stvorimo čovjeka po našem liku.
So today we want to talk about the purpose. Why does God created man? What purpose was he created him for?
Danas ćemo govoriti o tome zašto i zbog čega je Bog stvorio čovjeka.
When we create something, for example, when we create or make car, we have purpose for that car.
Kada mi stvorimo nešto, recimo kola, kada uradimo kola tvornički, treba da znamo zašto ta kola služe.
When we build a house, we have purpose for it.
Kada sazidamo kuću, mi imamo cilj, zašto smo je sazidali.
So the same with God. When God created everything, either it was animals or visible world or invisible or even man, he created him with a purpose. Kada
je Bog stvorio i životinje i biljke i sve vidljivo i nevidljivo, on je sve to uradio sa nekim ciljem.
And that purpose was to reflect who God is, and also the second purpose was to multiply on earth, and one of the main purpose was to to have dominion over all creation God has created.
Znači, kada je Bog stvorio čovjeka, znači prvo je htio svakako i da se čovjek umnoži i htio je da ima lik njegov, a također da dominira nad svim vidljivim i nevidljivim ovdje na zemlji.
When we're talking about the image of God in man, after man have sinned, and the question is, did he lose this image of God?
Kada je čovjek sagriješio prvi put, da li je on izgubio ovaj Božji lik?
And let us open the Bible to James chapter 3.
Otvorit ćemo Bibliju, poslanica Svetog Apostola Jakova, 3. glava.
And it says that about man that he was, when he's talking about the tongue, that say with the same tongue we bless God who is in heaven, but we also curse man who is created in the image of God.
Blagoslovit ćemo Boga koji je na nebesima, a curse je, znači proklinjat ćemo čovjeka koji je urađen, odnosno koji je stvoren po liku Božjem.
It says, chapter 3, verse 9, it says, therewith bless we God, even the Father, and therewith curse we man, which are made after the similitudes of God.
Znači, pročitajte 3. glavu, 19. stih. 9. stih.
Yeah, so basically man did not lose the image of God.
Čovjek nije izgubio lik Božji.
Of course, that image was corrupted by sin.
Taj imidž, odnosno taj lik Božji je, da kažem, poškođen grijehom.
And that is being only restored through Jesus Christ.
On je samo bio obnovljen preko Isusa Hrista.
Someone said that God created us in His image so that we would display or reflect or communicate who He is, how great He is, and what He is like.
Neko je napisao da je Bog stvorio nas po njegovom liku da bi mi mogli da manifestiramo ko je on bio, što je on i da bi Božju silu mogli da manifestiramo.
So what happens is man in the Garden of Eden had no sin. He was created in the image of God. He was holy. And when he fell into sin, then that holiness was dimmed. That holiness was corrupted. And in order to restore that holiness, in order to restore that likeness, Jesus came. Jesus died so that we would be born again and would reflect that image again. We would be like Jesus. And Jesus reflected God.
Sada u Edamskom vrtu čovjek nije imao grijeha. Kada je pogriješio, znači on je gotovo izgubio sva svojstva koja su ga posjećala na Boga, znači bezgriješnost. I sve se to nije vratilo do Gospoda Isusa Hrista koji je uspio to vratiti svojim životom i objavom na zemlji, također od rođenja pa do vaskrsenja.
So when Jesus came to this earth,
kada Isus došao na ovu zemlju,
he was reflecting the Father.
On je manifestirao i predstavljao Oca.
The same with us. When we are on earth, we reflect who Jesus is. We call ourselves Christians, followers of Christ.
Kada smo mi ovdje na zemlji, mi reflektiramo, odnosno pokazujemo ko smo mi ovdje na zemlji, također Isusa i Boga Oca također.
So it is very important. Even in the Bible it says about that we grow into the full knowledge or into the full height of who Jesus is.
I Biblija nam kaže da mi rastemo do te visine da bi mogli svima objasniti ko je Isus i ko je on bio.
One time disciples asked Jesus, show us the Father and it is enough for us.
Jednom su apostoli pitali Isusa, pokaži nam toga Oca tvoga.
And Jesus answered, I think it was to Thomas, he said, didn't you see me, what I do, and whoever see me, see the Father.
Kada je Isus odgovorio apostolu Tomi, rekao je, zar nisi vidio sve što ja radim, to je od Oca, i ako vidiš mene, vidiš i Oca.
Same with us. When we were created in the image of God. So when we live like Jesus, when we live like Christ, when we reflect Christ, we reflect who God is. We reflect His image.
Sada kada mi kao hrišćani reflektiramo i manifestiramo našu vjeru, onda reflektiramo Isusa, a također ko on jeste i ko je bio.
So basically the purpose of man that God has created him for is to reflect who God is. So that those people who do not know God would be attracted to come and be His sons and His daughters.
Znači, čovjek je stvoren da bi reflektirao, da bi pokazao ljudima ko je Bog i da bi privukao ljude k Bogu. Thank you for this very detailed answer. Hvala vam na tako dubokom odgovoru. Sada, moje sljedeće pitanje je Sveti Apostol Pavle, i od najvećeg grešnika do velikog pokajnika, i zašto oni koji ne vole hrišćanstvo najviše obraćaju pažnju na apostola Pavla i njega ne podnose. Čemu, actually, why all those who dislike Christianity attack especially Apostle Paul, who was a sinner, persecutor of Christians, and in the end he became Christian himself.
So basically one of the reasons why people hate Apostle Paul, and in many religious circles they hated him for, I think one of the reasons is because he was preaching the gospel of grace.
Zašto mnogi koji mrze apostola Pavla mrze ga samo zbog toga što je on propovijedao evanđelje milosti.
So grace is an undeserved favor of God toward us.
Milost je nezasluženi favorit, odnosno nezaslužena nagrada Božja data nama, poklonjena nama.
So what makes Apostle Paul and Christianity different from different kind of like religions and performance is that grace and works to please God, they are so different.
Sada, u čemu je razlika između apostola Pavla i nas? Zato što je kod apostola Pavla milost Božja i zasluga nešto potpuno različito i nespojivo. Znači, mi ne možemo zaslužiti milost Božju, možemo je samo dobiti kao poklon, kao nagradu.
So many religious beliefs, they are founded on how to perform to please God, what I have to do, what I have, how many times I have to pray, and all these deeds are to be performed in order to please God, to come closer to God.
Sada, mnoge religije to ne mogu da razumiju, jer oni jednostavno određuju kako se približiti Bogu, kako zaslužiti, što treba da radimo, koliko puta dnevno treba da se molimo i što sve treba da uradimo da bi zaslužili milost Božju.
That's what Paul did. He was a Pharisee. He was one of the best, one of the top performer of the all the law that was there.
To je radio i apostol Pavle prije obraćenja. Znači, on je sve radio, pošto je bio farizej, radio je sve da bi navodno udovoljio Bogu. Znači, on je ispunjavao taj zakon u potpunosti, gotovo.
But when the grace of God came, when he understood that the favor of God is not to be worked on, you can't prefer so many deeds to please God, but you have to believe in the one who did everything for you, that is Jesus. Then he understood that the grace of God is given to him as a gift, not for him to deserve that gift just by performing all kind of works.
Sada on na kraju je došao do saznanja da trud, odnosno rad, nema nikakve veze sa Božjom milošću i da se ona ne može zaraditi kao što se može zaraditi plaća, svakako.
Yeah, so Apostle Paul, he was one of the the greatest, I think, apostles in the New Testament, he wrote most of the epistles, and in these epistles he presented himself as the greatest sinner of all.
Sveti apostol Pavle je bio jedan od velikih apostola i napisao je dosta poslanica i u tim poslanicama je sebe opisao kao jednog od najvećih griješnika, gotovo najvećim griješnikom.
But the one whom God have shown mercy, and that mercy was shown through all of his work.
Ali također griješnik na kome je pokazana milost, a ta milost se može vidjeti u čitavom njegovom radu.
So Apostle Paul was preacher of grace, grace that God is giving man this favor, this undeserved favor. Man cannot work, man cannot be good enough, never be good enough to deserve that mercy. That mercy is given from God to man, just for man to believe in it and receive it.
Također da se ta milost ne može zaslužiti i ona se samo može dobiti kao nagrada i koliko god se mi trudili, mi to ne možemo zaslužiti u potpunosti.
That's why one of the reasons is people hate Paul, because people think you have to do something to please God, but the Bible says first thing that you have to please God is faith. It says in Hebrews that without faith it is impossible to please God.
Zato mnogi mrze apostola Pavla jer oni misle da trebaju da zarade, kao što zarade plaću, da zarade milost Božju, a apostol Pavle kaže jedino što trebaš da uradiš je da vjeruješ kao što je u poslanici Jevrejima.
So, and then when you have real faith, then good deeds will follow that faith. Not the deeds first and then faith, but the faith first and then you will be manifested by deeds.
Sada ako imate vjeru u Boga, onda to treba da bude propraćeno sa dobrim djelima. Nikako dobra djela ispred vjere, jer oni idu zajedno, ali prvo ide vjera.
Yeah, that's about it.
Thank you so much for those two detailed answers. We wish all our followers happy Christmas holidays. Yeah. According to Julian calendar. Regarding calendar, both calendars have nothing to do with celebration. In the Orthodox Church and in some even Protestant churches, they are followers of the old calendar. I know even Protestant churches who are, especially among Ukrainians and Russians, they follow old calendar, and some people, especially in Montenegro, think that it's a big deal to change a calendar. They will be closer to God. They will be closer to modern world. Just to say something, mnogi misle ako promijene kalendar, već će biti moderni. Some of my friends, in very the end I will say, they said, why don't we Montenegrins change a calendar to be new? Mm-hmm. And I said, we will. Mi ćemo promijeniti kalendar. After Jews change the Hanukkah, after Muslims they change Ramadan, and after Sikhs and Hindus change their calendar. So really calendar has nothing to do with celebration. As long as we celebrate Christmas and Easter, dates, they don't matter. Znači ako slavimo Božić ili Vaskrs i vjerujemo u to, we believe that Jesus resurrected, da je Hristos vaskrsao, that he was born, da se Hristos rodio, that Jesus is son and man at the same time.
Yeah,
Božji blagoslov. Thank you so much, dear brother, deacon and pastor. Božji blagoslov.
Božji blagoslov. Amen.